Welcome to an in-depth evaluation of an integration technology tool called PodOmatic. What is PodOmatic? PodOmatic is a podcast creation tool. Some of you may be asking yourself, what is a podcast? A podcast is a digital audio file that is downloadable to the web. It allows producers an opportunity to articulate content that can be published and then heard on the internet. Some ways teachers can integrate PodOmatic into their classroom is through book report presentations, acting out plays, reading books online, guest speakers, interviews, debates, and mock radio shows. PodOmatic has two levels of ownership. The first is Basic, which offers its users a free subscription to the site. Teachers would utilize this level as it offers one URL address that can house over 300 episodes, not exceeding 500 megabytes of storage. The second level is Pro, designed for professional podcasters. The subscription cost is $9.99 per month. With that cost, you receive high-definition downloads, design tools, customer support, and a few other options not offered to the basic member. PodOmatic is easy to navigate and explore. At the basic level, users are provided with a number of helpful articles to get them started and to enhance their podcast experience. At the Pro level, members receive exclusive access to the ProCare hotline and can speak to a podcast representative at any time. If you are relatively savvy with technology, I think you will have ease exploring this site. And lastly, PodOmatic can be operated on any electronic device that has a microphone. This includes, but is not limited to, iPads, iPhones, laptops, and Androids. PodOmatic includes a page for setting up your mic and provides other helpful tips to get you started. Next, I will examine PodOmatic and how it applies to the Technology Integration Matrix, or TIM. In respect to active learning, the technology integration through PodOmatic in the classroom would fare at the adoption level. The initial introduction would require teacher direction, but as students become more acquainted with the technology, I believe they would gain confidence and independence. For collaborative learning, I believe PodOmatic can be interpreted as either entry or adoption level. This online resource can be applied for individual or group learning. In both cases, the podcast must be scripted and rehearsed in order to ensure effectiveness and recording success. I would not recommend having too many students collaborate, as the conversation could become difficult to comprehend. For constructive learning, PodOmatic would fall at the adoptive level. This technology tool does not teach a new skill, but rather is a communicative platform that allows the user to present information to inform, entertain, or to persuade. In authentic learning, I believe the level of technology integration would be at an adaptation level. The platform allows students to have a new approach to learning. It is especially helpful for auditory learners who learn best from hearing instruction. The level of technology integration would require students to use the resource independently, and the content directed by the teacher would be designed to enrich the lives of the class. And finally, PodOmatic would fare at either an entry or adoption level, depending on the student's level of understanding. The opportunities for learning enhancement in the curriculum are endless. Teachers can set clear goals and expectations for the assignment from the very beginning so student success can be achieved. Next, I will discuss PodOmatic in terms of the ISTE standards. First, PodOmatic allows students to communicate themselves using a creative auditory platform that is presented online to an intended audience. By following these guidelines, the tools allow students to be creative communicators. Next, Students must be digital citizens when operating PodOmatic. Students must abide by the Electronic Device Code of Conduct created by their school district, as well as the PodOmatic Terms of Services Agreement. Failure to follow the rules established by the school district and the system would result in a loss of technology and/or privileges to the site. Lastly, PodOmatic allows podcasts to be published on the web, giving digital access to learners all over the world. The community of users have an opportunity to comment and provide feedback to podcasts available to view. Teachers would want to limit that accessibility and not allow student podcasts to be seen by other users other than their class. That is especially important for students in grades K through 4. But this leads me to my next point. The COPPA standards, or the Children Online Privacy Protection Standards. Now, when students are using PodOmatic, teachers would generate an account under which the students would utilize. Now, let me first say that I am unclear on how to interpret this rule that I found under the PodOmatic's rules for operating the site. But it states individuals under the age of 13 are prohibited from using the services. To me, I would think elementary school students will be unable to operate this site because of this rule, but perhaps I am wrong in that the rule is different if a teacher is the primary account manager and is responsible for monitoring the students who use this site. Additionally, teachers would have the ability to customize their podcast settings. For elementary school teachers, they would want to make sure that the podcasts or episodes are not available to be visible to the public so that they can protect student identity and privacy. They also would want to not allow people to comment onto the posts unless it is supervised by the teacher and is under classmate control. Now that I have reviewed, I would like to give you an opportunity to see what the PodOmatic site is all about. So, you would log on to the site using or going to podomatic.com. When you first use the site, you're going to want to sign in either using your email or Facebook. But since I've already created an account, I'm just going to log in here. Now, the first time you log into your account, you're going to go under and create your podcast settings. And first, it's just going to ask you for some very basic information. You're going to create your podcast URL, in which I just did my first and last name. And if it's available, it will let you know. So if you want to use it for a classroom, you can say specifically a classroom name or a course name. You're going to give your podcast a title, a tagline. You can find a cover art that you can put in your podcast so that that's what would be seen when you search it. You'll give a brief description of what the podcast is. You're going to create the category in which you'd like the podcast to be under, and as you can see, there are an unlimited amount of subject titles that you can choose from. You can also type in some words separated by spaces so that if somebody searches a specific word, that your podcast would come up under that. And then there are a number of languages, that you can find. And obviously I had chosen the English one. So once you have set up your podcast, the next thing that you're going to do is record. The first thing that you're going to want to do before you start the recording, though, is you're going to want to read about how to record. And when you click on this, you're going to see a variety of different ways in which you can enhance your recording. From how to set up your mic, from things that you do and do not want to do before you record, to how to record. And additionally, they give you some information about learning how to podcast, which they call Podcasting 101, and kind of prepares you for how to proceed with your podcast. So once you're ready to set up and start your podcast, they give you a little tutorial about online voice recording. And the one thing that PodOmatic doesn't have is they don't have the ability to actually record your podcast. You actually have to go online and find an online voice recorder, but they do give you some recommendations of ones that you can use. And one that I pulled up here is a voice recorder on 123 apps. So this is a free app that you could use to record your podcast, and then you can save it onto PodOmatic in your library and then download it onto the site. So as you can see here, PodOmatic has given you great resources in which all you have to do is follow along so that you can download your podcast onto their site. And of course, going through, you'd have to add your title and all of those features as well, and then publish it. Now, once you've published everything, the next thing that you could do is, instead of being a podcaster, you can actually use the site also to find some podcasts that you can listen to and enjoy. So if you were to click on to listen, I just typed up technology integration, and here were some podcasts that have been created by some other users, and you can go ahead and listen to them. So this here obviously would be the picture if you were to have chosen a picture to accompany your podcast. Okay, so that was just some little bit about that. And all I would like to say is, in conclusion, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation. I hope you learned something about PodOmatic. Thank you.